600,000 people will be in the greater Kansas City area. The ideal conditions, high volume crowds, people are distracted and they're talking fast. Let's go ahead and get this done. We need your money, we need to do this. Everybody's in a hurry, everybody is excited. What kind of businesses do you think are at risk? Who needs to be worried?
All businesses.
You say all businesses?
I mean, anything in e-commerce.
In e-commerce, that's a good one. What other kind of businesses need to be worried?
More online focus.
Oh, that's a good one.
Social media-based businesses.
Exactly. People who don't know. Retailers, restaurants, hotels, transportation providers, they're high-value targets. Entrepreneurs and people, solopreneurs. Tighten up. That is a complete sentence. I saw a company representative that had a data breach. It made national news. It was a nightmare for their customers. I saw him at an event. He had a vendor table at an event in California. And I'm looking at him as like, you actually showed up after what you've been through, the turmoil your company's been through. I said, I talked to thousands of people. Tell me 2 things that I need to tell people they need to do. He said, number 1, tighten up your cybersecurity protocols. We're going to talk about that today. And then he said, also tell them they need to invest in cybersecurity training. So often people think, I don't have enough money for cybersecurity training. Guess what happens when there's a data breach? Has anyone ever gotten a letter in the mail where, for example, Mr. Cooper is my mortgage provider? I got a letter in the mail 2 or 3 years ago. I'm sorry, we had a data breach. And as a result, we're going to give you free identity theft protection for 2 years to make up for the data breach. How much do you think that cost them per customer?
$50.
Between 9, if they're a big enterprise organization, up to $12 to $15 per customer. If they would have stopped and gotten training up front, they could have prevented that. So for those who say they don't have a budget, you will find a budget if your organization has a data breach, bottom line.
They have a greater Kansas City group, and so we gave this presentation on how people are using AI and how patients are using AI, and actually our doctors are using AI. So I'm not going to be talking, Dr. Castro talked about from the doctor's perspective, so I have this as backup. You can see his slides. Again, this will be on LinkedIn, but what I'll be doing is talking about from a patient perspective. So here are the 2 books that we wrote, The Power of Healing, and then the 2030 Blueprint for Humanities Exponential Leap, and talking about focusing on healthcare, responsible AI, including privacy, cybersecurity, road safety, autonomous vehicles, energy, and education. So again, I mentioned about saving lives, saving 1 billion lives, reducing disabilities by 50%. 1.2 billion people in the world are disabled. Again, there's 5 technologies that have saved 1 billion lives. And the question is, when will AI save as many lives as a toilet? So as our world ages, more and more people will die. And the question is, how many of those deaths are avoidable?
And then just overall skepticism of how can a computer or a machine do this thing that humans have always done. Those are pretty common roadblocks. Have been for the last up to 30, 40 years for different AI data and now using the generic term AI initiatives. So what that comes down to though is it's not generally, you guys probably know this, it's not a technology problem. The technology works. The problem tends to be people approaching the implementation of AI from a tool-first perspective sometimes, right? Hey, Microsoft has come out with this cool new tool, IBM has come out with this cool new tool, AWS has this cool new tool, let's buy it and see what we can do to make some money with it. Or there's no strategy. Or strategy looks like something like, we need to do this, we need to do something with AI, we need to do something with data science, we need to do something with machine learning. What that something is and how that is, so we freaking know, but we need to do something. There's no success metrics. Implement this thing. And then right, there's no next steps in that conversation. And then finally, a disconnect with leaders. Whether it is technology people or business people, from a grassroots perspective, there's an idea that we want to do something cool with this technology or with these ideas, but they aren't tied to corporate strategy. So when it comes down to getting funding, when it comes down to prioritization across the organization, that just doesn't happen, right? Those sound like, I see some nods, those sound like common